within Head Start right now. And so our goal is to, right now, there's not really any engineers that are supporting public organizations. So we kind of want to help to change that narrative and bring in more engineers into the environment, working on civic tech, working on gov tech, kind of getting exposure to, they have like the high level, which is like the Fed level, when you see like Doge and stuff like that. That's kind of like high level private organization. But then there's like the state level and like local level that doesn't really get that same level of attention, and it's not with the same goal in mind. Like, we're not going there to try to destroy the agency. So we're looking to like actually build things that actually work in public spaces. So that's really me. And Jason, we work on the project together. I'm excited about his project because I was reading his articles and white papers and stuff, and I'm like, this project is insane. To be honest. So yeah, this is really cool.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. So Joe.
Yeah. So okay, I'll briefly go over it since I'm not like as experienced as y'all.
It's all right.
Yeah. My name is Sajul Kanal. I'm a very passionate dude about physics specifically and soccer. I play for a travel soccer team. I'm a sophomore at Coxmill High School, and I love technology. I'm excited to learn more about computer science and probably major in this in the upcoming future at a college. Maybe Chapel Hill. That's probably like the goal right now. And yeah, I just want to expand my knowledge on, whatever y'all are doing, kind of get like some experience, because I know y'all have definitely been in this field for, decades. Not trying to call y'all old or anything, but
all right. You're right.
It's so weird to hear, but yes.
Like, I can expand my knowledge and get some wisdom from y'all. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Let me say that I'm very, very impressed that you joined. Man, if I would have been as on it when I was your age as you are, my goodness. So I'm fortunate to have you here. I'm fortunate to have you here. I can already tell. So yeah, welcome. I'm gonna make the claim that this is the most important community meeting that you're gonna attend this year. This is Open Ribcage, right? We are fundamentally trying to change how AI agents are going to be managed together, right? So I'll go over a little bit of what, if you haven't had a chance to kind of go through some of my research paper stuff. I'm gonna kind of cover it a little here. Since I'm recording this, so again, I'm doing this not necessarily for you, because Reggie already knows a lot of this stuff, but I'm kind of doing it for the gram. Right. So yes, I have spent decades. You're absolutely right. I started around 94. I started in 1994. As I told you last week, Sujo, I'm a huge gamer. I always wanted to do something related to computers. I started building my own, I think around 18, 19 years old, something like that. Worked at IBM for a few years, worked at Red Hat, there it is right there, for a couple of years, Cisco. I've done my share of of working at places in RTP, and most recently I worked at Duke University. Go Blue Devils! I worked there for 5 years, 2.5 of them as their automation expert. We'll talk about that. And then 2.5 years as the innovation and automation manager, primarily responsible for Kubernetes, which is a container orchestration platform. We can talk about that too a little bit, but anyway, long story short, the time that I spent over there at Duke, I just started to notice that there were tons of machine learning projects just coming from out of nowhere. Hey, we need this. Hey, we need this. We need to deploy this infrastructure. We need to train this LLM. We need to ML ops and inference. And I'm starting to hear all this stuff, right? I'm like, what is going on, right? And so I remember seeing ChatGPT for the first time, and it blew my mind. I sat there for like 3 days and wrote a book. Like it was just fascinating. And the idea that it was thinking about what I said, and the fact that I could have a conversation with it, and that I could steer it. I could tell it, no, that's not what I said. That's not what I meant. And it says, oh my, I'm sorry. And I like it. Just amazed me. But the very first thing that I thought of was, I said, this thing needs a personality. It needs some of that sort of personality of some kind. It does. Do you know the first thing that I did? One of the first things that I did was I said, ChatGPT, teach me how to cook, but teach me the way Paula Deen would do it, right? And I was amazed at what it said, right? Yeah. It was like, all right, honey. Like it started like responding in a way that it thought Paula Deen would respond. And so when I saw how much emotion it tried to have, this is where I thought, man, I think we might be on the brink of a new interface, right? I think we may be on the brink of actually having way more natural interactions with systems. You know, that was the first thing that I thought. But I said it needs a personality, right? And so I kind of breezed over the last 20 years, but one of the things that and I don't want to necessarily show you this to be like braggadocious or anything, but I don't have it in here, but I won a Think Place Award, an innovation award at IBM for something called IBM Metaversity. This was in 2007. All right, this was in 2007. We were already thinking of like 3D and immersive worlds. You can actually go see the one that I was building a lot of stuff in. It's called Second Life. I don't know if you've heard of Second Life before, but Second Life is like, think of like Minecraft, but like a little bit better graphics than Minecraft. And it's open world, right? And IBM at the time, we were you could basically like purchase an island. You could purchase an island in the game, in the simulation, so to speak. And then you could build, you could build things. And then you could script actions so that, a gift box, when you touched it, it opened up and like, shot out fireworks or something, right? Like, so you could create these three-dimensional assets and place them in this environment, and then multiple people could connect, and then together, collaboratively, we could look at these things together. So I said, man, we've just created presence so that, anyway, there was a lot of research around immersive and virtual worlds a few years ago, but it was ahead of its time.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, it was ahead of its time. And so this is around 2006, 2007. Twitter was just coming out. Facebook was just coming out, right? We hadn't quite gotten to smartphones yet. We were doing mobile phones. We hadn't gotten to like the iPhone just yet. I forgot what iPhone came out in 2007, I want to say. So the point is, at that particular time, I don't think we were ready to have like avatars act on our behalf. Fast forward to today, I'm seeing all this AI stuff, and I'm thinking to myself, now's the time of advertisers. Now is the time to have these more, human interfaces to these systems. And so more and more it became more apparent to me in a lot of the research that I was, looking into in terms of agentic AI. I put out a research paper called The Age of Agent Ops that declares that in the next couple of years, a lot of our computing resources will be kind of autonomous. They will just do things for us.
Yeah.
They'll do things for us on our behalf. Right. What do you think about that? Like, I can imagine, like, I've kind of seen the evolution of us, and I'm sure Reginald to a certain extent has seen this too, where like we've gone from like having to speak assembly language, right? We used to have to speak the computer's language. We had to punch cards. You had to like old school. We went from that to terminals to, you know, now we went down, you know, and now we're getting ready to get to like no interface at all. Like there's nothing, no keyboard, no mouse, just talk. Like you could really talk. Like from a younger person's perspective, like how does that feel to you? Does that feel natural to you? Like is that?
I mean, I always grew up like obviously, you know, having iPhone, like my iPhone here. I have keyboard, mouse. Like I've always had this type of stuff. So it's like it's interesting because I'm kind of in the middle. Like, you know, you are here, I'm here, and this new age, like even ChatGPT for me, you know, that was something new that was like, wow, it actually blew my mind. Even if I didn't start like before like you did, it's still crazy to see. And it's a weird connection, but it really kind of reminded me of like, it's really weird, like world wars back in the day with like nuclear bombs. So obviously in World War II, they wanted to develop a new bomb, and they had to, you know, kind of like go through all of these different types of prototypes and find the best one. Fast forward to now, is it the atom? I don't know if it's atom bomb. It's one of those, like all these bombs can just destroy the world completely. So like that evolution of the bomb is incredible, and it kind of just reminded me of like technology as well. The evolution between like, you know, when you started, or not started, but like when you found out about the internet, like 2006, 2007, fast forward to now with no interface. All you gotta do is talk. You can have avatars. You can ask ChatGPT. You can make it a personality. All of this, I think it's just really cool. And looking at the evolution of it, yeah.
And I think you know, and I just feel like and I've seen some futurists talk about this. You know, now that agents are here, now that AI agents are here, we're going to be less present on the internet. You know, right now we have to be on the internet, right? If I want to go, you know, book a vacation with my family, I gotta go I gotta go get the hotel reservation. So I'm the one going to, you know, Trivago or whatever.com. I'm doing the booking of the flights. I'm doing the stuff, you know, I'm looking into this. I'm going to Amazon to buy, you know, my toiletries. I'm going to do this. I'm going to buy my tickets, right? Like all that's great that I can do that. You know what I mean? But with these AI agents, I literally can say, you know, hey Shepard, can you listen? I'm going on a 3-week vacation with my family. We're going here, so on. So look, I only got this much money. All right. So, you know, keep it. Suggest some places for us to go. My kid likes this, so is like, and go do it. Right. And then it will go and handle that for us. You see what I'm saying? So we ourselves, the humans, are going to be less present on the internet. And so what does that look like, right? What does that look like? What do you think that, like, how are we going to manage that?
No, I mean, that sounds great, but like, there's definitely issues with that. Like, what if like a little kid just comes in the room, talks to this AI and say, buy, you know, hundreds of toys, and you know, you just go broke. You have to understand like the problems this may cause. So you have to think about it each, like, you know, scenario by scenario.
100% correct. That's why we have to have checks and balances. That's why we have to have what we call guardrails, right, around this thing, right? We have to make sure that it doesn't have the keys to the kingdom, right? It only is given the access that it needs, and it doesn't have no more, no less. Quite frankly, it's the same thing we do in humans, right? Think about it, you know. I just joined the company, right? They're not going to give me administrative access. You know what I mean? They're not going to give me admin access. I'm just now starting the company. So you're only going to get read access to these resources, so on. So a lot of the ways that we already have in place, you know, for guardrailing nefarious humans are the same guardrails that we're going to have to put in place for nefarious agents, right? And a lot of that is in the form of role-based access control, right? So when we talk about that technically, we're talking about like when you connect MCP up to an agent, you make sure that key only allows it to do what it absolutely needs to do, because an AI agent will sniff out everything that it can do, and it will use whatever is available to it to execute. And so this is where role-based access control is very important. So you bring up a great point. The other piece about that is keeping humans in the loop, meaning we should be designing this system in such a way that it always is trying to ask humans for help, ask humans for assistance in terms of, hey, I'm not sure if I should be doing this or not. Let me check with my human to figure out if I should be doing this. That may come naturally in some systems. For example, one of the first systems that that we're trying to create with openribcage as an example is a DevOps engineering, a DevOps engineering agency. And you already actually brought up the point, which is you need to make sure that, these agents aren't just checking code directly into like the master branches of your repositories. You need to almost, make it do a code review first or something, so that humans can take a look at it and say, yeah, that's okay. Okay, that's fine. But we become the people that actually push the stuff in. So there's a careful balance of, how much autonomous agency do we use versus how much, human agency do we use? Like, how do we kind of manage that? And so that's what kind of openribcage is about.
So you have another, and there's another point. I think you might find this interesting as well about you said you were interested in physics as well, right?
Yeah.
So, there's a parallel between the forward movement of AI and computing power, right? So you have, we have agents that are primarily built on binary systems. So it does the prediction, and there's some communication that happens between agents. But when you start talking about it in terms of quantum physics, right, you're now looking into the relationship of true reasoning, which is what we were talking about earlier, that doesn't use prediction, because you can't really predict. You can't really predict your way into reasoning, right? You have to do it through simulation, right? So that's where physics comes in, because if you kind of look at like our current quantum stack, you have the qubits, and you're limited to this number of qubits that you can use, and within that environment, there's a particular amount of information within that environment. So right now, the system has to go through each line and determine, just like it would look at code, and it would determine like what is next, right? But with that, you're looking at a system where I can determine based off of the proximity of one point to a next point. So now I can just determine, oh, well, this is what we need to do. Let me ask if this is okay, because I've simulated these particular outcomes at breakneck speed, right? So there's a conversation that we have to have, I guess, around agents in a binary system and agents in a quantum system, right? Because that taps into a different realm that I feel like, openribcage is going to be a big piece of that communication methodology.
Great dovetail, man. Let me show you. So let me give you a little bit of info on that, where you can find stuff, right? So the way that I did this, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm vibe coding quite a bit of this, because I don't write Go code. I don't know Go like that, but I want it written in Go. Because of the native multi-threading that comes with Go. But I know enough about software engineering that, apples, oranges, I mean, you kind of design them all the same, pretty much. So, if you know Java, you can pick up Python pretty easily, vice versa. So, but the way that I broke out openribcage is in two distinct repositories. So I happen to be hosting them both on GitHub. So if you want to check out both of the repos, You can go to the Craine-IO organization. So that's github.com/Craine. That's spelled with AI in the middle for obvious reasons. CRAINE-IO. And there's a couple resources related to the project. One is called Project openribcage. I'm basically using that as the project repo. So this is capturing issues, capturing, project progress. Other things that I want to do there is like, let's say, for example, we're having some sort of community event or something that is related to the project. So there's the core, code base itself. And then this is kind of like a meta code base, right? So think of it like it's the code base about the code base, right? So and we could have, not just things that track the project, but it could be also tracking like marketing initiatives or whatever we need, right? So just kind of have a separate project for that.
That's cool.
And that is open source as well. So, that's Project openribcage.
I'm on it right now, yeah.
Yeah. And then the other one is going to be this one. This is the actual, core code base right here, Craine-IO/openribcage. I've got a pretty extensive README here. You can literally read about what the project is about. Just to summarize, right? Just to summarize, and I literally just wrote a blog post about this. We have a bunch of different AI agents, agent frameworks that have sprung up all of a sudden. There are a couple different ones. Some are great for one thing, some are great for other things. It depends on what solution you're trying to solve, or what problem you're trying to solve. It might determine which AI framework you want to use. But what's interesting about that is if you're trying to get these things to work together without some sort of common protocol, without some kind of common language that they all speak, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to kind of integrate with each other. The way that I kind of characterize that is if I have to use a more modern analogy, I can't use the A-team. I don't know if you know anything about the A-team, Sujol, but let's say, I don't know, Power Rangers. Let's say the Power Rangers. Let's say one of the Power Rangers spoke Japanese and the other one spoke, Tamil, or the other one spoke English, the other one spoke. How are you going to work together as a team if you all aren't speaking the same? Aren't speaking the same language?
Exactly.
Right?
Well, the AI is doing this, right?
Yeah, so let's say I've created an AI agent, right? So I've got my own little AI agent, and let's say that AI agent, I don't know, let's say it creates code, let's say it builds code or something, right?
Okay. Let's
say I have another AI agent, and another separate one, right, from this one. That one, let's say that one does QA, maybe it does quality assurance or something. Maybe it's testing, I don't know, maybe it's testing websites or something, right? Well, let's say I want these two agents to work together. I want the two agents to work together. I want the code building one to kind of maybe build me a website. And then I want the QA one to test it for me, right? If these two agents aren't speaking the same language, if they weren't deployed, if they weren't developed with the same framework, it's going to be difficult to try to get them to talk to each other, right? It's going to get them to talk to each other. Google has already figured this out. They already figured this out, and they created something called the A2A Protocol. You'll see that down here at the bottom. You see that right here, right? It's called the A2A Protocol. It means agent to agent. That's basically what it's talking about. That's all the A2A means. So if you think of it, it's just like A2A is like the TCP/IP for agents. I don't know if you know what TCP/IP is, but it's the networking protocol, right? So it doesn't matter that my operating system is Windows and yours might be Macintosh and Reginald's might be Linux. The fact that we can connect to each other over the internet using the TCP/IP protocol allows us three to talk together. Makes sense?
Yeah, I get you.
But that's what the A2A protocol is.
Okay.
So now, let's step up a little bit further. So now, if that becomes the universal language between all of these agents, that means that I could use that language to manage them all, right? So think of me like the universal translator at the United Nations. And I have the representation from the African nation, and he's speaking Swahili. And this, I have someone from, the Pakistan nation, and I have someone from the UK, and they all speaking their native language. But I can bring them all together, right? Because I'm the universal translator, right? And so that is what openribcage is about. It is about having one tool that speaks the A2A protocol language so that any agency that adheres to the A2A protocol can be managed through openribcage. Does that make sense?
That makes so much sense. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, cool. So that's basically the problem we're starting. Now, what does that allow us to do? That allows us to say, all right, because I think this is going to be an issue in the future. You tell me whether I'm right or not. There are going to be companies like, ABC company, they're going to create their own agents, but then they're going to use agents from another company, for example. Let's say, I don't know, Squarespace has their own agency or something. But we have no idea how their agencies were created. You see what I'm saying? We don't know how their agencies were created. All we know about is how ours was created. And how we're going to get them to talk to each other. Well, if their agency is A2A compliant, we got it. You see?
So we need to get them A2A. Are you saying that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Great question.
What are some like the issues like with like developing this A2A within each company? Is there like anything that comes bad with it? Because obviously, the company doesn't want to fail.
Great question. So anyone who wants, any company that currently wants their agencies interoperable, meaning you want your agents to be able to talk to others, it would make sense if they would make their agencies A2A protocol compliant, right? And all that basically means is you give them an interface to tell them who you are, what capabilities you have. That's basically all the open client is. The open A2A protocol is about. It's very, very similar. If you study this, it's very, very similar to the routing protocols in networking. So here's an example. I'm a router, right? And somebody else is a router. And I asked that router, hey, what networks do you know? Right? And then that router then kind of broadcasts, hey, I know about this network. I know about that network. I know about this network. So that if I ever get a packet, if I ever get any data that comes to me that needs to be routed to those networks, I know what router to hit. I know which one to hit because he says, oh yeah, that one. A2A is exactly this, very, very similar to this, right? I'm an agent, you're an agent. I can tell you about my capabilities. I know how to write code. I know programming. I know Python. I know so-and-so. And then the other agent says, well, I know marketing. I know financial analysis. I know so-and-so. And then that's how they exchange. That's called the agent card. That's like literally what we just talked about not too long ago, Reggie, right? We was just talking about that. And that part has already been implemented. That's the breakthrough that I had last week with openribcage. So we're kind of running over time. I said it was only going to be 45 minutes for this particular first meeting, but again, this is very educational, so I'll keep going.
Thank you.
Just a couple more minutes here. So the idea is that, right? I needed to test this some kind of way. Right? I needed to kind of test this idea some kind of way.
Okay.
I said, so well, I need some kind of AI agency to stand up and have it say, what it can do. So the first thing that I did was, if you go into the into the code here, the first example I have is with an agency framework called K-Agent, kagent.dev. If you want to read more about it, and quite frankly, Craine as a company has a pretty good relationship with the K-Agent community. To put it short, K-Agent is just an AI framework that runs in Kubernetes, and I know Kubernetes pretty good, so I said, hey, it makes sense for me to try. So I was able to stand up K-Agent. I was able to put a few agents on there. It actually comes bundled with a couple of agents. And then I enabled the A2A frame. Then I enabled A2A, right? And then I did the coding I needed to do to run openribcage and then say discover. And then when it says discover, it will discover any of the agents that are, that are exposing their agent cards. And that's what the agent cards are. It's basically like saying, I don't know, I hate to say it like this, but it's like somebody says, hey, I got Visa, I got MasterCard, I got Express, it's kind of like that. So I'm telling you what agents I have and their capabilities. That is exposed through the JSON RPC 2.0, which basically is when you talk to the agent, it comes back in a JSON file, and the JSON file.
I'm pretty familiar with JSON files. I'm currently doing a research project on my own, so I'm kind of familiar with this type of stuff. Cool. I had to gather data on like a couple. I had to gather data on over 500 free kicks, so I'm pretty familiar with like understanding that type of code.
Cool. So if you walk through this is how you could stand up, like if you wanted to stand up like a little test or whatever. This runs K-Agent on top of.
I think he may have froze.
Yeah, it's frozen.
Jason, can you still hear us? Let me send a message. Okay, yeah, he's coming back. It was, I guess it was blue screen.
Okay.
But what are you thinking about, like potential use cases for a system like this?
Well, what do you mean specifically?
Like for example, the K-Agent one is DevOps, right? So it basically like builds environments. But there's like honestly an endless supply of potential uses for a tool like this. For example, you could use this in game, right? Like let's say it was a RPG and you wanted to make the NPCs autonomous, where they can communicate with you with updated information. This would allow for that.
That's actually something that's really interesting. So you're saying,
I don't know what happened.
So you're saying, for like just an example, Fortnite, they implement this new idea, and these robots are just speaking about like the weather, or like just anything, like anything on the internet that's up to date. What if like news, like some brand new news came out, and everyone playing, they could just instantly find out about this news when they're playing the game? That's yeah, I never thought about that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I mean, and that's just like one use case of like potential, infinite use cases.
Yeah.
There's
unlimited opportunities with this. So sure.
I don't know what happened to my machine. This is the first time since I built this damn thing that it's blue screen, and it's blue screen on me twice. I don't know what's going on.
I hope it ain't a cloud strike situation.
I don't know. I just put Claude code on here.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I just updated my Mac, so I'm having very, very clear issues right now as well.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I was basically saying, you know, I do have some documentation on how to set it up. If you have any issues or if you have any problems, we do have a Discord. We hang out. Okay, cool. We hang out in the Discord and such. And so yeah, we're gonna try to do these every week. The project repo has some issues that I'm working on. And I'm gonna iterate on these and and try to make as much progress on a weekly basis as we can. I'm gonna be telling a lot more people about it. This is the first kind of time that I've really publicly spoke about it, and so yeah, I'm hoping that we get people to kind of pile on and see what we're doing and want to help and see use cases that they can use and yeah, and we'll see what this thing goes.
No, a great point. I think I could really help you with marketing towards more people. For sure, like there's definitely people interested about this, and I think if they understood it, maybe like more simply and like more tailored towards them, I think they would for sure turn out to these meetings and really be inclined to help out. Yeah.
Well, what interested you? I wonder what really interested you, because I would love to get more of you in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm also really interested in machine learning, and I think this is really correlated to that, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So like with AI and machine learning, these are some things that are like really interesting to me. I mean, obviously I had to do this anyways with District C, so it's not like, but I found out about it. I do some research with LinkedIn, since I have network there, and I just look at it, and it's really interesting to me. I think it's a really cool company, and like it could definitely be expanded, and it's a really good idea. So that's what interests me. I want to learn more about this here as well.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, bright minds like yourself and Reggie got for you folks to be see it and be like, hey man, we get it, we see what it is, and hey, we want to help. I'm very grateful for that. So yeah, let's see what we can do, man. And more people we can kind of pile on. I'm going to try to help get some more kind of I think what I'm hearing, I think the feedback I'm hearing, and Reggie, maybe we can use this for public works too, is maybe we need some introductory kind of material to get people up to speed so that they can kind of, I see, I get it, that kind of
on a practical level, just how would this be used in a regular everyday setting environment?
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing too.
Because we're kind of we're kind of architecting, so we're seeing all of this from the 10,000-foot view. So it's very difficult for us to pinpoint specific instances without talking to someone else that's just oh, I see how this could be used.
Yeah.
For this, right? So
yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. I'm gonna do this again on Monday. You two were the first. You two were the first. So we'll see where this grows. We'll see where this grows.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Until next time, and we'll see you in the Discord. All right.
All right. Yeah.
Yep. Later.
Thanks,
See y'all.